Hey guys, what's going on? It's the Interior Auto Mechanic. Today we're back with the Race Yaris, or also known as Project SlowKart. We're going to be working on the transmission today. This car is going to look a little bit different as of right now, just because I've removed the cowl panel, the wiper arms, everything up here, and the reason for that being we're going to be maybe tackling some stuff up here with the cowl panel as far as heat extraction goes from the engine bay, but that will be in a different video. We are going to be working on putting a new shifter bushings in, and then also I have a new shifter kit, or short throw shifter kit from NST. I think it's NonStop Tuning is the name of the company, and that just came in not long ago. So I've been waiting on the shifter bushings. Basically what had happened before, I had got a TRD quick shift kit for I think it was a 2000, I want to say like 2011 to 2014 Scion TC. And the reason why I went with that one, the 1NZ quick shift kit is no longer available from Toyota. And the one that they had for the Scion was the closest thing that looked similar to what this one would have been available. The old 1NZ one would have looked like. So I bought it, and unfortunately we're going to have to modify it, but that's something we can do later down the road, and I'll show you guys that here in just a little bit as far as what I have to modify on it to make it work. But when I was removing that, I actually was videoing before, and when I removed that, our bushing just came right out of our shifter cable. And you cannot just buy this bushing that fits right in here and goes around the shifter mechanism. You can't buy the bushing from Toyota. You have to buy the whole cable assembly. So I had to do some internet searching, and luckily I did find there's two companies. One, unfortunately, was out of stock. They sell a brass one, and then the other one is Torque Solutions. They have them in stock, and these are for Yaris. Looks to be like Yaris, and possibly the European Celica as well have the same size bushing. The only reason I know on the European Celica is because the other website I was looking at, they had their bushings available for like MR2s, and I believe it was Celicas as well, like the 2ZZ motor. And it was saying that the European is a 27.1 millimeter bushing, and that is exactly what this one is. You can't run a US bushing on it off of a Celica or Corolla or MR2. So that was a bummer, and they were out of stock on the European ones. So like I said, I went with Torque Solutions. Theirs is like an ABS type of plastic. Seems to be perfectly fine and should work great for us. There are technically two bushings that do come in the kit. I'm probably only going to replace just this one here. The reason for that being, our other one is right back there with that clip holding it in. I've already removed that clip and tried to pull that cable off, and it's pretty seized up. I'll probably go ahead and lube it, and then maybe in the future change it out. It's pretty easy to get to. But for me, when I removed this bushing, it was an absolute pain. It took me probably an hour to get it off of the stud. I had to heat this. I ended up burning all the rubber off that was on it, and then it had a brass insert that was pretty much welded to this shifter mechanism just due to rust or corrosion that got in between the brass and the steel. So we were able to finally get that off and not damage anything. If you have a Yaris you're not in the salt belt, yours will probably pop off pretty easy, and you can change out both. But in my case, I'm not worried about the other one at the moment. I just want to get this one replaced. So we'll go ahead and hop into that. I'll show you the product and see what you guys think. Alright guys, so here is our ultimate shifter upgrade kit. And I say ultimate because this is everything I can possibly find to upgrade the shifter on the Yaris. Basically, we've got three things. We've got our Torque Solutions bushings for our shifter cables. We got two of those. You got a smaller one and a larger one. It's got some nice C-clips in there that are metal, and then some new little pins to put through to keep them from falling out. We have our NST shifter or short throw shifter. They are not a sponsor, but from what I've seen on Yaris World and everywhere else, they make some very high quality products. After that, this is the quick shifter kit, the TRD quick shift kit. I don't know why they put the logo upside down and then it says quick shift there. But anyway, this is off of a, let's see here. Here's your part number. The Scion TC. Like I said, this is like for 2011 and up. This is the 2nd gen Scion TC shift kit. From what I've seen online, this is very similar to what our 1NZ quick shift kit would have looked like if I could still get it. What I had to do so far, I've drilled this out just to make this hole a little bit bigger. It comes with this to relocate your shift cable. Unfortunately, that won't work for us. I don't believe that the 1NZ kit came with that. I think you were literally paying like $150 for this little piece here. And I think this thing is somewhere around like 120 bucks, something like that, which is a lot of money for a little piece of anodized aluminum. But it also comes with these bolts, and this stuff here, I should have mentioned, this goes with the shift kit. So you got it like a big metal C-clip, and then you've got some nice new aluminum shift bushings that are for the quick shift kit. Okay, so we're back over at the car, and when we look down here, this is our shifter cable. Our bushing goes into this big hole right here, but it will mount onto this shifter mechanism right here. This is our TRD quick shifter, and from Toyota, if you have a TC, you mount it like that. However, if we do that, it's going to make our throws longer because the cable has to travel further to push us forward and backward. Then, if we simply just flip this around, which is what the TRD, the 1NZ TRD one did, so we should be able to flip this around and basically put this stud, or the shifter mechanism stud, if you want to call it that, over here. And once we do that, that will make it a shorter throw for it to travel back and forth to have to move the shifter mechanism itself. So it should feel pretty good and pretty notchy. However, what my issue is, I can't simply just flip it like that because I need to modify this simply by making 2 aluminum bracket pieces that come down on each side of where this stud, shaft, whatever you want to call it is. Kind of like what's right over here. This right here is meant to be able to sit on the shifter, and then when it moves the shifter as well with it. Unfortunately, if you flip it, then this just rotates because there's nothing that's holding this in place. So once we modify that, I should be able to pop this on, and this will probably just be something I do and report back on the side because it's not worth making a video over. But if I can modify this and just have 2 little tongs off both sides that hold it onto this mechanism, we should be able to make it to where it shifts a lot better with this on. So this will be for another day. Like I said, I'll probably have to drop it off, see if I can get some. I don't weld, not yet at least, but I'm hoping to learn. Hopefully I can get somebody to weld me 2 aluminum pieces on the side of this and see if we can make it work. All right, back to the hood of the RX-8 R3 for our parts pickup. So I'm gonna go ahead and open up these torque solutions. So this is the smaller one that we are not gonna use right now because I cannot get the bushing off of the linkage, and I'm not worried about it at the moment. This is the big one. We are gonna use it. We're gonna use this bigger clip and one of these new little pins, and we'll get this installed. So hopefully this isn't going to be too bad for you to see for install, but basically all I'm going to do is slide this piece up from the bottom. The cable bracket piece itself, the part that's missing, the actual bushing down here, that will go around this. We'll slide the C-clamp on the top, and then we'll put our little pin in. I think these are, I think this is technically called a cotter pin. If not, correct me in the comments, but about 99% sure that's what it's called. And I just dropped it. Cool. We'll grab another one. But anyway, we will put this on and then put our little pin through, and we should be done, as long as I don't drop anything else. Okay, so I've kind of got you guys in a different position, but hopefully you can watch me install this a little bit easier. So I'm going to lift up on the cable itself, slide this piece down onto the shifter mechanism. We then have our C-clip that's right here. And this has a nice, well, let me pull it back off and I'll show it real quick. It has a nice little groove cut into the top of the bushing right here to where the C-clip will fit right in and then lock itself in basically. So we'll put this on first, slide our cable right over top, slide our C-clip in just like that. So that is locked in on there, good. It's not going to go anywhere. But then in order to keep our bushing from going anywhere, we've got our little pin here. We'll stick in. And unfortunately, I lost my other one, but so that is on there good. I do have an OEM one, little pin I might run instead because it actually has like a little locking piece that's this metal tong is bent back a little bit to keep it from coming off. So based off of that, I think I'm going to probably run it instead. But overall, Torque Solutions bushing so far feels very well done. Seems to do what it's supposed to do. Now we'll move on to the inside shifter removal. All right, guys, we are inside the car. Just real quick, just to show my work. I'll show you how I remove the center console here in just a second. It's super easy. This is just to show the Torque Solutions bushings. It feels great. And also, this will show our before on our original throw. This is our original Toyota shifter before we put in our NST short throw shifter. So you can see how much throw there is. And yeah, so that's a pretty good amount. But anyway, if you need to remove your center console, if your car does not have power locks, if your car is just a base model without power locks, so when you look at your center console, easiest way to tell on this if you don't know, power lock, power window cars have the lock unlock switch dead center of the console right here, right next to the AUX or auxiliary cord port. When you're looking at it, this will be where your shifter is. Your shifter boot literally just sits in here. It'll clip in. It's got some clips that go right around the base. You can just wiggle your finger in between here and it'll pop right up. It's pretty simple. To remove your shifter knob, just grab a hold of it and turn it counterclockwise and it'll come off. After that, you're going to want to reach down in here, kind of where your shifter rod will be here, but there'll be enough room for you to reach your hand down. You can pop this up that way, or if your hands are too big, you can just come back here where your e-brake is, pull it all the way up, and then kind of pop your finger in here. Pop this up. You'll need to remove 2 plugs. Unless you do not have power locks, then you won't have to remove that, but you'll still probably have an auxiliary. Remove those. Plugs are just typical push in on the tab and pull out. And then finally, you have 1 screw back here. Now there might be a little felt piece that goes in the rear cup holder. You might just have to remove it. Mine had it. I just took it right out. There is a 10mm bolt right down in there. After that, just get your hand up underneath here. Kind of lift up. You'll have to have your emergency brake all the way up. Lift up and then work your hands up underneath the side of the console right through here. You'll feel it pop out. It just got some clips that hold it on the bottom side, and that's it. So I'm going to go ahead and get the shifter box out of the car, and we're going to install our new NST short throw shifter, and I'll show you guys how I did that. All right, guys, we've got our shifter out, and I've got to say, I hope that the shifter install goes as smooth as it was to remove this shift box. Super, super, super simple. Basically, you're going to have 4 12mm bolts, 2 here, 2 up at the top. I got my shifter right here, so this is just barely on. I did that. This is something to do, too. I know this sounds crazy. Put your shifter knob back on as you're removing this, because chances are you're going to bend your head up and down through here, looking, and everything. I've been poked in the eye by the shifters before when the shifter knob is off. Does not feel good. So this here, it'll keep you from smacking your head on it, and it's just just a small safety tip. I know that might sound dumb, but it really does work. So you've got your 4 12mm bolts. You've got 2 here, and then you got 2 right up here. The shifter cables themselves come off extremely easy. So the cables will come in right through here, and basically they sit into that groove, into this groove right here with this piece. It'll slide right in. There will be a top piece right up here. Let's see here. This piece will pop right off. Just lay that over to the side. And then all you have to do, it's really, really simple to remove this. It's a genius design. I've never seen it done before, but it works very well. You just twist this. There's like a knob part on the back, and then it allows it to where it opens it up enough to where you can pop this up. Now, before you do that, there is another one of these little cotter pins that you've got to remove. I laid it right over here. That basically, so you have to remove that, and all you have to do is locate this on the side. This is the closest shifter linkage to you if you're on the left side of the vehicle, like in the driver's seat. The pin will come right through here. You'll have a little cotter pin that you'll just pull out, and that will allow this to just flop free, and then you can completely remove this cable. The other one is a little trickier to get to, but once you have this one free and these bolts out, you basically can just lay the shifter over just like this, and you can get to it from the bottom side. So all this one's going to do, the pivot is right down here, and that's where this piece goes into here. And to make this work, all you have to do is pull this one this way and this one this way, and keep them both far apart. I'm just letting them go back so it doesn't fly off and go everywhere, take off on me. But pull this one this way, pull that one that way, make sure they're, pulled apart, obviously, and then this one just drops down. Again, you just come right up here, twist this one clockwise, the same way this one, that's clockwise, and these are free. So, alright guys, we finally got our shifter all taken apart. I wish I could report back and say that it's a little easier than what it is, but it's not the hardest thing in the world, but I would say it's probably, 6 to 7 out of 10 on the hardness scale. The trickiest part is just getting the plastic pulled apart. Now, maybe it was just my Yaris, it has sat for a long time. Maybe the heat got to it or something like that, but my plastic just was not wanting to work with me at all. So I had to modify this a little bit to get this piece out. There is a shifter piece that will go over here that has a spring on it. You'll have one of these small little retaining clip pieces that actually hold it on. I ended up having to grind mine off just with a small Dremel. Once I did that, there's a pin that goes through here, I believe. Yeah, it should go right through here. It'll go through this side. Just take a hammer and smack that pin through. Your shifter piece, the little mechanism with the spring on it, will come out this side. The spring should stay on. Wear glasses just in case. It's not like a super high tension spring, but if it does come off, it could shoot up, and you don't want it to hit you in the eye, obviously. Once I did that, there are 2 plastic tabs that hold the shifter in, and unfortunately, you can get to them from the underside, but they're pretty stiff. So what I finally had to do was, this is up now, but I was able to get a flathead in here, smack it around a couple times all around, and then able also to pry up through this little joint piece here. This is typically down flush, but I was able to pry it up, and now we have our shifter that we can take off. That piece will sit aside, and we will reuse that. And here is our shifter. This is our stock versus our NST. So you can tell that is lined up all the way at the top, and there is quite a bit difference of height and everything. So I'm going to swap a few things over. We'll save this plastic piece here. We need to switch that over. Switch this over as well. Get it put back together. These bushings down here will get inserted into here from the bottom side. And yeah, after that, we should be able to put it back in the car. Like I said, it's not a hard job. It's just one of those things. There's not a lot of write-ups online on how to put it in. And I just was experimenting. So, you might be able to find it a little easier, or it might be equally as difficult. I busted my knuckle a couple times, but part of it. So we'll get this installed and see how she does. All right, guys, we got this put back together. This kit is pretty solid all the way around. I mean, quality-wise, it's great. The major part that's the downfall on it is just the lack of instructions. So hopefully this video helps somebody if you did buy one. It works wonderfully. Like I said, it's just there's not a lot of information on how to install it. Full disclosure, I did not reach out to the company and ask for any type of instructions. Just kind of something that you would figure would come with this type of kit. Overall, got it all put back in. I was able to slip our new metal bushings up underneath of here. Everything's tightened back down. These are just our 4 12mm bolts. I went back with the factory ones. They gave some, standard looking hardware with some washers as well. I didn't really find any use for those because I like factory bolts. All right, so one real quick thing that I realized after filming, I didn't talk about how to install the little new metal bushings. Basically, these are going to be your old ones that you take out from the other shifter box. All they do, when you flip the box over, this metal piece will pop out. If I can do it one-handed, there we go. It'll pop out like that. These here are just like little rubber squishy things, so you can just squeeze these and they'll pop right out. Like I said, the other ones, the collar will slide right up through the shifter box, put your new bolt back down through it, and should be good to go. So when I put everything back together, I lubed it all with fluid film, and yeah, there are a couple things in the kit that I did not use, and actually one thing I did have to reuse, which was a little annoying because I was hoping to be able to use the right clip that came with the kit. This is the one I was talking about that I had to cut into with a Dremel and actually get this one off, because this is like almost pressed on. I was able to grind it down, you can see there, and it's got a little cut in it, and able to get a flathead behind it and actually pop it off. They give you 2 of these style clips, or something similar at least, that comes with the kit. However, they won't fit over this, or at least I could not make it fit over this stud that comes through. So after that, putting the spring back on was a little bit of a nuisance. I would tell anybody that's doing this, kind of take some pictures of how this spring is set on here before you take it apart. I tried to document it. I even looked back through some of the videos that I had shot when I took this off, and I couldn't see it perfectly. I don't know that I've got mine seated perfect, but it does what it's supposed to do. We've got our cotter key back on our other shifter cable, and probably one of the hardest things, it wasn't terrible, but the pivot down here inside of this cage that hooks to the other linkage, you have to take off your plastic pivot piece that is on your factory one and swap it over to the aftermarket NST one. Not hard, just it's covered in grease, so it's slimy. Best thing I can tell you to do is just take a real small flathead and kind of pry it off. Just watch your hands, because like I said, I've busted my knuckles doing this job probably 3 or 4 times now at this point. I should have just wore gloves, but anyway, enough of me rambling. Let's just throw on, this is just a shifter knob that I have back here. I think this is off of like a Corolla or something, but that's good enough. So, it's definitely shorter, not a doubt in my mind about that. So I'll take this off too, because I think when I did my comparison earlier, it was off. So height wise, definitely much shorter. Here's the top of my seat, like where my butt's sitting, and it's about level with that. And before, we're talking probably, I don't know, probably an inch to inch and a half on height difference. Definitely feels super solid. Fourth to fifth is going to take a little bit of getting used to, but just because it is close, so I don't go back 3-4-3. But I think we should be able to make that happen, especially I've got a nice shifter knob that'll be coming in. Nice meaning it's off of another car and it's a weighted shifter knob from factory. So I didn't want to spend a bunch, and it's literally the roughest shifter knob I could find off of said car. So that will be getting put on. I'm going to pop my console back together, and I guess it'll be interesting to see. Let's find out. I'm going to pause this and we'll see if you can run the factory boot or if I'll have to cut it down or just run no boot. All right, so I've got the console all back installed, and it doesn't look like, unless I kind of force this down and then it looked kind of stupid, I'm going to be able to run this boot. So not the end of the world. We'll pop it off, and I'll probably end up coming up with something or finding another one of these that I can trim on. I just don't like destroying the original stuff that was on the car. Not like it's going to be worth anything, but in case I ever want to put it back to stock, I'll have it. Anyway, if this video helped you, or if you're interested in NST Shift Kit, contact them. Again, they're not a sponsor of the channel. Overall, extremely happy, especially for the money. I think this was like, I think this kit was like less than $100. The quality of it's great. And if this video helped you, I would certainly appreciate a like. If you enjoy watching the series, I would certainly appreciate a like and subscribe. If you got any questions or comments, please just put them down in the section down below. Obviously, as I said in all my other videos, please consider checking out our build sponsors, FTG Tuning, and also Fumoto oil drain valves. I would definitely appreciate that, and as they would as well. And thank you so much for watching. Good luck on your project, and have a great day. Hey guys, it's the next day, and one thing I did want to clear up, this piece here is actually a tool. I found this out after the fact. It is not part of the kit as far as anything for installation wise goes. All this is meant to do is supposed to help pry in between the shifter box, basically where the new shifter rod goes down in, that piece that I was showing that I had to kind of work with extensively to get to pop off and come apart at the top. That this is supposed to get kind of wedged in between there and pop that up easier. Like I said, I did not use the bolts just because I'm a fan of factory bolts, and these are our old bushings and little metal, well, and the little metal pieces that go in those, and then these are the two extra clips that they give. Like I said, I didn't use those, I just ended up reusing mine.